Now in this case, right, when you've got a number in front of the x squared that isn't 1, right, you've got to do a little bit more work. So when it comes to doing the brackets, okay, what you do is then, because it's 2x squared in the brackets, then you don't just write x and x, right? You write 2x in both brackets. That's the method we're going to use for this, right? And then the multiply add thing is going to be slightly different, okay? You don't put minus 3 here, because there's minus 3 there. What you do is, this first number here, you multiply, okay, by that minus 3. So 2 times minus 3 is minus 6, okay? So they've got to multiply to give minus 6, and then they've got to add up to give 1, okay? So it's the same thing in terms of adding to get that number, but you've got to do this extra step here, right? Times this by this to see what they multiply to. So two numbers are multiplied to give minus 6, or two numbers are multiplied to give 6, okay? Well, we've got 1 and 6, okay, but you're not going to get 1 from that, 2 and 3, 2 and 3, yes, 2 and 3 multiplied to give 6, and you can get 1 if you make that a minus 2 as a plus 3, so that works. When you multiply these as well, it gives you minus 6, so that works. So minus 2 in the first bracket, plus 3 in the second bracket, or you could do it the other way around, doesn't matter what order you put them in, you could put plus 3 first, then minus 2. Now, because up here you multiplied, you multiplied by that 2 in the front, you've now got to pay back. Okay, so before we actually do this solving bit, you've got to do a little bit more work. You've got to pay back, and because we multiplied by 2 here, you've got to divide by 2. Divide this by 2. When you divide this by 2, each bracket, let's look at each bracket. Let's see in this bracket here, are there any common factors? And there are. There's a common factor of 2 here, so you can take 2 out. 2 then, bracket, x minus 1. Okay, so you can take 2 out, factorize. Second bracket, ask yourself any factors there, and there aren't. So we just leave that as it is. But what you find is, once you've done the factorization properly at the top, they'll cancel. That 2 will cancel with this. So you're left with then this, x minus 1, 2x plus 3. And then of course it says solve, so you put it equals to 0. So that means then the first bracket is equal to 0, which means x is 1. Or the second bracket is equal to 0, which means then you've got a little bit more work to do. So you take that 3 over, so it's minus 3. And then of course you divide them by that 2. So you get that minus 3 over 2. So you can leave it like that, or minus 1.5, yeah?